Hello guys, this is me Saksham Arya. Welcome to Football Daddy. We have our good friend Ankit with us as usual. Today we'll be discussing the starting 11 lineup of Manchester United under Ole. As we have all seen how well Manchester United has been doing under him. They have conceded 13 goals in 6 game weeks. So I think it's probably the best time of the year that we discuss which players gets picked, what's the starting lineup, which formation Ole should stick with. So let's get right into the video. So guys, here we have the starting 11. It's probably very random right now. We have not selected the formation yet. So I think let's start the video with with the formation. So Ankit, what do you think should be the formation for Man U right now?
Yeah, right now we're basically doing Ole's work, something that he should be working on, deciding on what formation United should play in. But of course, he clearly does not have the time to think about it. But let's, we will do his job for him. So I think personally, Manchester United should be playing a 4-1-2-1-2 formation with a diamond in between. United has played a lot with this 4-3-3 and a 4-2-3-1 formation, utilizing the width in the park. But United does not have wingers. They wanted Jadon Sancho, but Ed Woodward masterclass, they could not get him. So of course we do not have any wingers. We play Rashford and Mason Greenwood in the wings, but they're not wingers. They're up front strikers. They should play direct in the front. So yeah, for me, I think a 4-1-2-1-2 diamond in the midfield is the formation that United should play with. Saksham, do you agree? Do you disagree? What do you say?
So out of the first 56 games that Ole has run Manchester United as the manager, he has used the diamond formation only 9 times. And out of those 9 times, he has won 4. He has drew 1 time and lost 4. So that's probably not his strongest formation. But right now, given the lineups of the team, given who are the strongest starting 11 in the team, I think 4-1-2-1-2 should be the go-to formation for him. But again, a 4-1-2-1-2, the biggest strength of using a 4-1-2-1 formation is the flexibility that you get with it, probably mostly in the midfield. Then again, there's this disadvantage that you can easily get exploited in the wings, and that's what we have seen last game against Arsenal. But that's a discussion for later. By the way, Arsenal won.
Yeah.
1-0. Go Arsenal. Anyway, so yeah, I think
no need to mention that. Let's move ahead.
So I think if Ole plays his cards correct, he can do really well with this formation. Especially he has such pacey and young players who are willing to run all over the field. So let me change that formation, guys. Yeah. Hold on a minute.
So starting with the number 1 position in the team, the goalkeeper, a quite obvious choice would probably be David De Gea, but he's been quite divisive in the Manchester United fan base, with some people wanting Dean Henderson to be starting for Manchester United. I personally think that David De Gea should retain his spot for the time being. Dean Henderson is probably our future, but currently David De Gea he has been winning the Sabawi Charlton Player of the Year award for so many years. He has saved us so many seasons. I don't think we should be dropping David De Gea. He's one of the greatest goalkeepers in the world right now. I don't see how you can drop David De Gea. So for me, David De Gea starts as the goalkeeper for Manchester United. Saksham, what do you say?
Yeah, easy pick De Gea for me. I mean, yes, I get it why players are divided right now, but again, you can blame the defense as well for that. I mean, you can't always blame De Gea. So yeah, De Gea right now.
Correct.
Dean Henderson, as you said, for the future. So moving on to the center defender position. Ankit, what's going to be your pick?
My pick for the central defenders, the central defender pairing, like the left centre back and the right centre back, would probably be Maguire in the left centre back with heavy heart, because I think Ole is obsessed with Maguire. He starts for Ole. I don't see him being dropped. He's the club captain. For the right centre back, for me personally, would probably be Tuanzebe, because he gives the dynamicism in the defence that we have been lacking so far. Both Maguire and Lindelof are slow. We need someone with fast legs to play in that central defensive position. I think Maguire plays for his defensive abilities. He's a refrigerator anyway, but alongside him, I think Tuanzebe plays and Lindelof might come from the bench, but I don't see Lindelof playing in that formation.
I think Maguire should be the pick. I mean, there's no discussion about that. He's the team captain, and probably, I mean, that's so unfortunate, but he's probably the best defender in your team. So yeah, Maguire. But Lindelof should get the nod ahead of Tuanzebe because Lindelof has the experience, but Tuanzebe doesn't. And and you can always argue that you need pace in defense, blah blah blah. But in Arsenal we had Mertesacker, who probably was as slow as a tortoise, but he still did well. He was good with tackles. He was really well when it comes to organizing defense. That's a really good quality that you need in your team. And Manchester United's attack is so young that you need at least some kind of stability in the defense. So you need some experience. Why not go with Lindelof? I mean, he's not as bad. He's not that bad, right? So for me, it would be Lindelof over Tuanzebe. Yes, he's a bit pacey, but I mean, if Lindelof is not finding his form, then yes, go ahead, pick Tuanzebe. But as a usual pick, Lindelof should be the go-to. So
okay, makes sense. We can go with Maguire and Lindelof for the time being. But yeah, as you said, Tuanzebe on the bench, and he can come in when Lindelof is not playing well.
Yeah. Okay.
So coming to I think the two most important position in the team right now, because given that we have picked 4-1-2-1-2 diamond, the role of the fullbacks is that much enhanced because they need to cover that space that is opened up by the narrow midfield. And in our Manchester United's fullbacks, let's pick the left back. We have two options, Alex Telles and Luke Shaw. I personally would want Alex Telles to play in front of Luke Shaw. I am a huge Luke Shaw fan. I think he's one of the best Manchester United players there is right now. But I think in the 4-1-2-1-2 diamond formation, the role of a fullback is to go in front and join the attack and give that support to the attacking players and whip those crosses in. Luke Shaw has not historically been the best when going front. He has the defensive stability to defend, but I don't think him going forward is the best Luke Shaw. So Alex Telles is probably better going front. We saw what he did against Paris Saint-Germain, those crosses that he was whipping in. So for me, in left back, there's Alex Telles, and for right back, there is no option. The English Spider-Man, Aaron Wan-Bissaka. What do you think?
Yeah. So Wan-Bissaka for me as well in the right back, and the full back is probably the most important position in modern football right now, because you need them to attack, you need them to defend, and they have to cover so much ground. You need them to be absolute machines. So Wan-Bissaka for sure, and there I think yes, Telles should be the pick because Luke Shaw has played half a dozen of seasons, and again his history says that he's not been that consistent like our case with Bellerin. So if you have a better, I mean Telles is an amazing player, so why not go with him? See if Luke Shaw finds the form in the training ground, and if he does, go give him a nod. So Telles for me too. So let's pick him.
So going to the base of the diamond, in the central defensive midfield role, Saksham, who do you pick?
I think the base of this midfield is probably the most important piece of the puzzle when it comes to defense. So this pick has to be really good. I think Ole should not pick a favorite here. He should sort of rotate the players depending on who is playing against him.
No, what are your options? Like you said, he should not pick a favorite. I want to know what are your options. I just want to hear if one is there or not.
Fred and Matic. These two.
Thank you. You did not say McTominay. I'm thankful to you.
Okay. Alright. So the thing is, Matic has not got the pace, but he has got experience. He can. He's really good with when it comes to the passing game, and Fred has some pace. He's good with the defense. He's again a machine. He can run all over the field. Probably your form of Firmino. I don't know, but he does not know how to pass the ball. So let's say you are playing against Manchester City. Manchester City will have most of the position. You need players who can sit in, sort of always maintain that formation. So I think in that case you can go and pick Matic. Because he will provide that sort of rigidity to the back defense and sit between the two central defenders if needed. But if let's say you're playing against Southampton, they have really good pace, and there's a lot of shifting gears between attack and defense. So in that case, you need Fred to be sitting there. So if need be, he can go towards the offense. I'm fine with either of the two, depending on who the opponent is. So I think the final call should be on your shoulders. So Ankit, what's your pick?
Yeah, Fred is basically a Duracell bunny running around with energy all day long. But my point is that instead of picking, say, as you mentioned, for a Manchester City, you would pick a Matic over Fred. I would actually pick Fred over Matic against a City, because I know City will have the most of the possession. We need high pressing game. We need players who can run around, who has the energy to press a City. In that case, a Matic will not press. A Matic can squeeze out a couple of passes here and there, but he cannot press. Fred will be able to press. Matic, on the other hand, say against a team like Southampton, Arsenal, which we know that they will allow us to keep the ball. They will play with a back five. They will allow United to have most of the possession. A player like Matic is very important because he can squeeze those passes. He can clear our defense. He can take the ball and pass it on to someone like a Pogba, Fernandes, or whoever is playing in front of him. So yeah, it's quite interchangeable. But I think for me, a best starting 11 is a team that goes and plays toe to toe with a team like Liverpool, toe to toe with a team like City. Okay, that's my basic best starting 11 for United. So in that case, I would go with Fred over Matic. Coming to the two central midfielders, the left centre mid and the right centre mid, I think for me, in my head, the left centre mid is Pogba's position. I know a lot of United fans hate Pogba right now. He gave away the penalty against Arsenal last night, and it was a heartbreaking scene to see it. Even think of it right now, I think Pogba might not be a good choice because he has openly flirted with Real Madrid more than some of our friends flirt with girls in the bar. But I just don't see what is wrong with Pogba. But given the players that we have, I think left centre mid is Pogba's position. The right centre mid is Van der Beek's position. We'll come back to Van der Beek in a second. Saksham, tell us your picks.
So one question before I start speaking. Let's say if you drop Pogba, so who do you think should play instead of him?
In that case, Matic should come in CDM. Okay. Van der Beek should move to left centre mid and Fred should play in the right centre mid.
Okay, all right, I see. So yeah, for me, when we are talking about the strongest starting 11, I think Pogba is probably one of the few star players in the team right now. So Pogba should get a nod here. But on the right central midfield, I think it should be Fernandes instead of Van der Beek, because for me personally, Van der Beek is like Müller in Bayern Munich. Like, he can pull defenders out of position, and he can create that space and go for those passes. Like, if you see the Ajax highlights he has on YouTube, you can probably see what he does, what he's good at. So if he can bring those defenders out, and Pogba and Bruno Fernandes, the two midfielders at the back, can sort of pass those balls to Rashford or I don't know, Cavani, I don't know, and create those chances, because it's time that Ole starts taking risks, because he's probably going to get sacked if he loses one or two more games. So for me, on the right hand position, it should be Bruno Fernandes. Yes, from his side it will be sort of a compromise because he does not play there, but if we are talking about the strongest starting 11, it should be Fernandes and Van der Beek both in the team, and Van der Beek does a better job sitting in front of Bruno Fernandes than Bruno Fernandes does sitting in front of Van der Beek. Ankit? What do you think? I think this is probably the most exciting part of this formation, right? Because if you have to pick the strongest starting 11, you have to pick both of these two players, right? I think you'll agree on that with me.
Yeah, but I would go with Van der Beek on the right centre mid and Bruno Fernandes in the central attacking midfielder role. And I'll tell you why. A central attacking midfielder is someone we expect 15 to 20 assists, like a Kevin De Bruyne. Okay. Yeah. That's the central attacking midfielder that we're talking about. So in that place, if you're putting Bruno Fernandes out of his position to play in the right centre mid, to help Van der Beek play, then you're taking two great players out of their position and letting them play in positions that they're not comfortable in. Van der Beek plays better in deep, where he can have most of the possession because he's excellent on the ball. Even in the short span that he has played with, you can see he drops deep, collects the ball, passes on the ball. He's very quick in transitioning the ball. And Bruno Fernandes plays best when he stays up, he collects the ball and he creates those assists for Rashford to run into. So I think Bruno Fernandes goes in the central attacking midfield role and Van der Beek goes in the right centre mid.
I think if Ole thinks there's a better option, if Van der Beek should play in front, then of course he can switch the formation, ask the players to be a little more fluid and flexible, and play as the match demands. So I think let's stick with that. So I think let's stick with that.
Yeah, I think Ole does not understand. I think Ole does not even understand what Van de Beek's best position is, because I think Ole is just obsessed with playing Van de Beek where Bruno Fernandes is playing and dropping Bruno Fernandes to the bench.
Ole
So,
thinks Van der Beek's best position is on the bench. I think the biggest struggle for
Yeah.
Ole so far has been his lack of flexibility. I mean, he's been so rigid. Because upset when it came to the Arsenal game was that when Manchester United was about to shift gears between attack and defense, or from offense to defense, they were struggling a lot in keeping that formation and rigidity, that structure, and I think that's where we got the better hand and got a penalty. But anyway, that's what
I think in the Arsenal vs United game, Ole got everything wrong. If you're won with the diamond against Leipzig, why do you have to go and change the players playing in their best position? You had you had Fred playing in the right central midfield role, Matic playing in the central defensive midfield role against Leipzig. They played beautifully, and then you come into this game, let McTominay play the right central mid as a box-to-box midfielder, and you bring Fred back into the central defensive midfielder. They cannot play those positions well, at least not together.
Okay, Ankit.
Why
I
are
think
you
you're
doing this?
getting a little bit emotional. Ankit, just sip some water. Ankit, take your time. Guys, we'll be cutting this video right now. Ankit needs some time off.
Yeah.
Ankit, are you okay? Ankit, hello?
Let's start.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Sure.
Alright. So I think there's only two positions remaining in the diamond formation. The two attacking forwards. Before I speak, Ankit, what's your view on Cavani? I mean, he got transferred this season, and for me, it was a face saver in front of the Manchester United fans from Woodard. I don't think he'll be as impactful as Ibrahimovic was in your squad, but I think he can. I mean, he's a world-class striker, and I think if used correctly, he can score a few goals and provide those attacking options that Manchester United currently doesn't have. Manchester United doesn't have a target man striker right now, and I think Cavani can provide that role to your team. So what's your thought on Cavani? And after that, I think we can move to the forward positions.
Yeah, I think on Cavani, we did this transfer market roundup video. Guys, check that video out if you haven't. We discussed more about Manchester United's transfers. But as we discussed in that video as well, Cavani is a 33 and a half years old player who has been brought in to save the face, as you just mentioned. He scored 4 goals last season. He's been out of the PSG squad since February. He has not played. He is not match fit. He can probably, help our youngsters. He can be, as you said, the anchor man that we probably need. So I think he will start a few games. He will feature in a few Premier League games, few cup games. But if I'm building the strongest Manchester United 11, I don't see Cavani in that starting 11. Not right now, not in the future. For me, I think I'll just go because I think I'm in the topic. So I'll just go. For me, the two people up front are Rashford and Martial. Undoubtedly, they are our best attackers. They need to start. They were our highest scorers last season. They need to get in front. Paul Scholes made a very strong statement against Anthony Martial, saying that he almost conned us into believing that he is the number 9. But I think he was a bit harsh on that. Martial is a good player. He does a brilliant job holding up the ball, letting people go run behind, take those passes, nickel those passes. That is why we also win a lot of penalties. Dakshan, your view?
Guys, first of all, I'd like to say that I'm quite enjoying making this video because, while I'm putting the players in the team and seeing the formation, I love to see Manchester United struggle. I mean, we've won against them at Old Trafford after 14 years. It's so wonderful to see them struggling. I think they're finally stealing our spotlight from being a meme team. So yes, I mean, tough times, but really quality content, right? Anyway, so moving on to the front two, I think Cavani, since he did not have consistent form last season, Cavani should be used as a super sub instead of getting picked regularly. He is an amazing aerial threat, and right now, except Maguire, who is in the defense, Manchester United does not have a good, solid aerial attacker. So yeah, the two picks should be Rashford and Martial. But for me, we are saying the front two, but for me, Martial should sit behind Rashford. He is better at keeping the ball than Rashford, I think, and Rashford is really good with the runs. So if Martial keeps the ball long enough and Wan-Bissaka, Fernandes, Van der Beek, these players makes those runs, Martial can pick those passes and play more like a false nine than as a target front striker. So yeah, Martial and Rashford for me too. So let me quickly change those players.
So I think one thing that I think both of us can notice a difference between the last video that we did on Liverpool and this video is there is so much unsurety around which players should be picked, which formation should be used, and what to do with the players that they have and what should be done. It's mostly because I think even Ole has not figured out what philosophy should United be playing in, what players should be picked, what formation should be used, and how these players should be used. So even we are confused on how these players should be playing on the field. A league-winning side does not have so many confusions around their team. A Liverpool squad, like when we were building the Liverpool squad, we basically had the core ideas figured out. Like these players will play this role. These players need to perform this particular duty to be in the squad, and that is how we selected those players. In Manchester United squad, I think there is a lot of confusion on what philosophy should be used, what players should be used, what formation should be used, and I think that just speaks to how our quality has been so far.
Yeah, so I completely agree with you. I think before the start of the season, when it comes to Arsenal, Arteta had identified in the last season what were the missing pieces. There were 4 or 5 missing pieces, and used the transfer market really wisely. He sold some players, bought in some players, and right now, given how the squad lineup looks, I think we have almost found fixed almost every problem in our team, and that has not been the case with Ole this time, and Ole has not been very vocal about his problems, and when it comes to post-match interviews, he makes excuses like the stadium is empty, there's not fans to cheer the players, but I mean that goes for the everything.
You will like this one. You will like this one a lot. If you're talking about excuses, you will like Ole's excuse after last night's match that he basically blamed our victory over Leipzig for the loss against Arsenal. He said that after a victory like Leipzig, it's very common that players will take the pedal, like take the foot out of the pedal.
Why is he being so overprotective of his players? I don't get it. I mean, he should be a little bit more rash and strict. I mean, he could learn a thing or two from Jose Mourinho maybe. And he needs to show some leadership inside the dressing room, and that could fix some issues.
Yeah.
Fernandes is probably stealing the show when it comes to the leadership qualities, right? And
so I'll just share with you one interesting quote that I read when Fernandes signed back, with Manchester United back in January of this year. This was a question: how long do you think Fernandes can play well before the Manchester United virus gets to him? And we have seen this with so many players. We have seen them coming into the team, playing well, playing with that audacity, that ferociousness that we require in a team, and then slowly they lose their intent, they become and the fans go against them.
Yeah.
And I think I've seen fans going after Bruno Fernandes as well after the recent games. Since we're talking about Ole so much, Ole in, Ole out. What do you think?
I think it's time that if he does not give the much needed victories in the coming games, he should be sacked. And it's not a bad lineup. If Manchester United fixes its problems, I think they can contend for the top 5 spots maybe. But under Ole, this does not look so. And if the players are not good, they're listening to the manager, things could work, but it's probably the fault of Ole, the manager, who's not managing the team correctly. If Ole sticks, I think it's time that Manchester United gets relegated, and it would be amazing to see Leeds in the Premier League and Manchester United getting relegated. I think that's some quality meme content. So I think we're heading towards the end. Ankit, would you like to add some few notes?
Around the for the conversation of Ole in and Ole out, I come into this debate from a more neutral perspective here because I think I'm in the grey. I don't hate Ole. I understand that a lot of people call him a PE teacher, a lot of people call him tacticless, he does not have any tactics and all. But I think of it this way: is Ole the man who is going to win us the Premier League is Ole the man who is going to win the Champions League?
So that's it for the content, guys. If you like the video,
because that is what our aim is. That is what a club like Manchester United should aim for. And for me, I just don't think so. Ole has probably hit his ceiling right now. I don't think Ole is going to win a Champions League or Premier League. So from that point of view, probably not right now. But eventually he should get the sack. We also did this Twitter poll where I asked this question: who do you think should replace Ole? And by popular demand, Allegri, Juventus's ex-coach, was the most popular choice by the viewers. So yeah, he's one of the options. He's out of a job. Even Pochettino is out of a job. Nigelsson, probably United can Nigelsson if he is available. So yeah, it's interesting to see what we do.
one thing, I think Ole is probably one of the best stand-in managers we've seen recently from any team, and he did so well. He put Manchester United in the top 3 last season. Okay, guys, I think this seems like to us the strongest starting lineup for Manchester United, and if you guys have your own opinion, we'll share the link down below. You guys can check it out, share the screenshot with us, and send us a good one. To do that, you probably have to, keep McTominay out of the team, and I think we'll then share the screenshot. That's good enough for us. That's it for the content, guys. If you like the video, blah blah blah. If you love the video, blah blah blah.